We are really thankful to you, ma'am, out of your busy schedule, you accepted our invitation. So, students, so ma'am has joined. So, today we are going to study planning establishment of HCWM in a facilities. This is the today's topic. So, ma'am is expert in this field. I mean, no doubt with this expertise of the ma'am. So, we are going to get benefit out of the today's class. So, I request you, ma'am, to take about the today's session. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you very much, sir. Uh, can I start off?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
sir. Thank you. Okay. Let me ask you this question. I'm not an expert. I have had some little bit of experience in this. I won't call myself an expert in this. Let's learn along how we go about now. Now, let me ask you all things. Do you all plan for anything? You can give me any day-to-day examples. I don't need anything very technical also. Do you plan anything? Say, for example, as a student, you would have planned how to take up the examination. What would you do for it? Or if any of you are professionals, I mean, who have settled very much, you would have planned to build a house or something like that. Anybody who has had that experience, can you share with me as to how did you go about doing it? Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Yes, can anybody share with me as to what process you took to plan for certain things? So good afternoon, Chandrababu, sir. So you're muted. We can't hear you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. You will be handling 4 to 5 session today.
Yeah, 45. That's why.
Okay. Okay. Yes, student. As the participants, may I request you to contribute, please? Nobody?
What, ma'am?
Yes, I was just asking, have you ever planned for anything? Like even taking up your examination or planning for this course itself. How did you go about doing it?
Purpose of the course, or do you want to know anything other?
Excuse me?
Actually, we can't understand what you are asking, ma'am.
Oh, you can't understand what I'm asking. All right. Did you ever plan? Say, for example, did you ever plan a vacation or to plan a trip or plan even?
Good afternoon. Generally, we used to do the PDCA cycles. Like we
What is
plan.
that? Can you tell me, elaborate?
Yes, ma'am. Like some problem is there or
Okay.
something is there, so we have to plan accordingly what to do so that
Hmm.
we get the problem same problem again and again. So
Okay.
according to the plan, we do the things rightly. So like if there is some bacteria positive in OT or something like that, we have to do the fumigation. So we plan like that and we do the fumigations, and after that we check it, is our plan success or not. If our plan is success, then we will continue the actions. So
Okay.
we plan like that.
Okay. All right. I'll give you another example. Suppose you are going to take up your term and examination for this course, IGNO course itself. How will you plan for it? Can anybody tell me?
We are preparing our syllabus according to the study material was sent by the IGNO.
Okay. Okay. Suppose where there is a time limit, you just have very short time, then how do you go about planning?
Previously, at the time of admission in January session, we know that examination will be held in June 2023.
Okay.
According to that, we download the study material from the website and later we got it on hard copy from IGNOU.
Okay, then what do you do, sir? Later on, you got the study material, you know the deadline, I mean, timeline here. By July, I should get ready with everything. So, how do you go about doing it?
We will write our exam in May.
You will write your exam, but before that, what preparation will you do, sir? It is open for everybody.
We prepare according to books and also practical in our institution healthcare facility also. We already always see what the procedure is going on in our healthcare facility and
Yeah.
definitely it is very less we are managing in our institute. But later
Yeah.
we study in books, then we elaborate all the techniques and
Okay.
ideas about the biomedical waste management.
Sir, if okay, this is how I would look at. Suppose I have an exam, I look at the syllabus, what all is important, and then I would plan accordingly. There are certain chapters which I know very well. There are certain chapters which require a little bit of effort from my side, right? So I would plan in terms of the least effort, depending on the time I have, and I also have other obligations also to do. So I would pick and choose in terms of which is easier for me to do it, and at the same time have output result, a very good result. Most of us do it. So the first thing what we do in any planning is to assess what we have. Are we having everything? I mean, do we have the syllabus? Do we have all the criteria that is necessary for us to take up the examination? Say, as a student, it could be, maybe it could be attendance or internal assessment or anything of that sort. Eligibility is there. Then I assess what is the syllabus, how much do I know in this, how much can I, how much time do I have to know the other things, am I capable or not? And then what I do, I prioritize. Probably the toughest ones I'll take first and the easier ones I'll leave it later, or some such kind of a prioritization I'll give for an examination. And then within the available time, I try to read all the syllabus, solve the previous question papers, and then get myself ready for the exam. Okay, what is the assessment to see whether my plan has worked or not? Is my performance and the amount of marks I score. Right? Do you all agree with me? You,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, right? So, similarly, if I have to go about doing this for healthcare waste management in any of the health facilities, how do I go about doing this? There are two scenarios here. One scenario where you are setting up the healthcare facilities for the first time. Two, there is already established certain systems. You just need to improvise, or you need to see where the lacuna is. When you're setting, when the healthcare facility is absolutely new and you're setting up for the first time, then also you need to plan. You need to know the kind of waste that would be generated. You need to have a plan in terms of how these would be taken out. Now, any of you, if you have planned for construction of your houses or apartments, you would have noticed many a times, you would have noticed one thing, that the utility area, the area where we clean our utensils or wash our clothes, will be the last one to be planned. Very least amount of importance would be given to it, and it will be given in one corner, whether the accessibility is limited or there will be some sort of an impediment for it. So many a times we don't take these things into consideration when we are planning. Similarly, even in the hospitals, if you look at any of the hospitals that have been built across, what hospitals or the government hospitals what we have are all the older ones which were built long ago, even before the biomedical waste management rules came into being. But now, the present hospitals which are being built where the biomedical waste management rules are there can now at least plan the waste, how it, where it is generated, the points of generation, how it needs to get out of the hospital, where will it be stored, and how will it be taking out to the common treatment facility from where the vehicle comes. So this can be planned. But whereas in the earlier hospitals where the things were already set, and then what you're trying to do is to fit in something in between. What would be the problems in such kind of scenarios? We may be taking the waste when the hospital is full, when the OPD is full, getting all the people exposed to it, because I do not have a delineated route for transportation. Or I am creating this route when after everything is built, I had not thought about these things prior, so therefore I fail to plan. I have failed there in planning when it comes to healthcare waste. Of course, there are always ways and means where you can overcome it. Right. Can I share my a window? Let me try and share my PPT. Okay. Is it visible now? Are my slides visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, thank you very much. Now trying to see whether we can establish. Now we all know biomedical waste management, there are so many issues. It had already been dealt. One, it's an issue of occupational safety, environmental safety, patient safety, and attitudinal safety. This is one more thing which you need to really keep in mind when you're planning. So these are my objectives for this session. The reason at the end of the session, I would expect that the participant would be able to explain the necessary for planning, and two, to delineate the steps of planning for healthcare waste management. What is a plan basically? Can somebody elaborate? What is a plan? I need the participants to respond. What is a plan? We use it very frequently, but what do you understand by the word plan?
Planning means how we will perform it according to our thought.
Okay. So what is our objective is to be stated, right? And what steps we will be taking to achieve that objective is what we call it as a plan. It is nothing but blueprint for action. Now, what are the factors when it comes to healthcare waste management that will not allow us to plan properly? Is one, lack of awareness. Maybe we are not adequately trained both in healthcare waste management as well as in planning. There might not be adequate infrastructure for us to do carry out what we wanted to do. There might not have been a regulatory framework, but now we do have a regulatory framework for it. There could be insufficient human and financial resources. This of course is our major impediment whenever we plan. And at the same time, this is one thing when it comes to attitudinal issue where low priority is given to healthcare waste management. Okay, has anybody had experience in planning waste management for any of your healthcare facilities where you are working in? Anybody has set up systems in your places, in your hospitals where you are working, especially for waste management?
Yeah, ma'am.
Can you
Yeah,
share your experience?
previously it was a very bad uh, experience
Okay.
about me, but later, as per governments are doing so many trainings on biomedical waste management, later I know how to segregate puncture-proof boxes, are how
Uh,
to use, how we are
okay.
using for color-coded bags, and
Okay.
their transportation and their intramural transportation also.
Okay, so okay, let me share you my our experiences. It's just not mine. When this was way back in 1996, 97, or 98, even before, or I will say 2000, when 1998 rules had just come in. Okay, we all knew we had to segregate waste. We knew that whatever goes into yellow will go in for incineration. I'm talking about old rules, okay? And there were certain so what do I need for it? I need, if I have to plan for segregation in any of the places, either in my OPD or in my OT or any places, what do I need? I need to know what sort of waste is being generated over there, right? How much of waste is generated? Okay, and how much of waste is generated? What are the different types of waste that is generated? The quantum is important for us, even at the household also. Even at the municipal solid waste uh, rules, they say you need to segregate the waste that is generated even at your households. So how do I know what sort of waste is generated and what waste goes where? We do not know that until we are aware. We get people to do it. Okay, so I will skip this, and I will just go into. So for us, for the basic principles to set up any healthcare waste management is, first thing I need to know, do a waste audit. What is a waste audit? Basically, I am trying to find out what sort of waste is being generated, characteristics of the waste that is generated, how much it is generated, and what can I do with it, right? For me to segregate, I need to know, right? For an efficient segregation system to have, people should know what sort of waste will go into which bin, and the quantum of the bin and the liners should be adequate. If you have large amount of waste that is generated, and you use a very small volume of bin that is kept there, then the chances are likely that there will be spilling and segregation not being maintained in any of the hospitals. So I also need, how can I minimize this waste, and what sort of waste can go in for recycling. I should identify the point of generation of waste, and how do I go about segregation of waste at says at source. I need to compile the inventory of waste, and if there is possibility of disinfection at point of generation, and how do I transport this waste, what are my final disposal options, what sort of occupational safety measures I need to do, and how should I see that the system goes on adequately and there is nobody who is not doing it. And also I need to train my staff. These are some of the things what I'll be looking at in setting up a healthcare waste system. Now, first thing is about waste audit. Waste audit is usually done for 1 week to find out. You can use a survey format to look at the quantum of waste, category of waste, any disinfection process that needs to be done, what sort of waste movement that we need to look at, and what sort of equipment we need to look at, and what sort of protective clothing, and also the instance of sharp injuries in that particular week. It can extend also in any waste audit. These are the things which we generally look at. Based on this, then you can plan for the whole hospital in terms of what are all the points of generation. Do all the points of generation require segregation, or can then be brought at one place and done the segregation? These are some things which we look at. Now, who does the waste audit? Sometimes it could be done by internal people, or it could be done for external people also. Now, any waste management system has got both managerial and administrative aspects. Now, waste management is not in isolation with that of infection control. So, therefore, you also need to look at um, you also need to look at how you are going to integrate it with the other committees which are present, because the decisions taken in the waste in infection control committee do have a bearing on the waste management, and certain times the waste management, whatever decisions they are taking, may have a bearing on the infection control in the hospital. So therefore there should always be a communication between these two committees, so that it doesn't cause infection or it doesn't cause any mismanagement of waste. Then I need to look at what are my disinfection practices and transportation. Upon all these things, I need to train my staff to do this. There's something called a systems approach to the healthcare waste management. I think this has already been dealt, and there are also personal in healthcare waste who need to be trained. So I need to integrate both infection control as well as waste management to look at what are the sources of hospital acquired infections, principles of infection also control I need to maintain, and what precautions I need to take while handling waste, and what safety measures for waste handlers. So when it comes to disinfection and transportation, I need to plan what are all the waste that requires disinfection, what sort of disinfective agent I am going to use, is that disinfective agent approved by the biomedical waste management rules, and what is how am I going to disinfect, where am I going to disinfect it, and these are some of the logistic issues also we need to look at. One of the most common things which generally people forget is how do I store the waste and where I do store. Most of the hospitals do not have a proper storage, temporary storage place. Sometimes the segregation may not be maintained even in this storage places. They will segregate very well in the wards and other places point of generation, but when they mix it up at the point of at storage, it doesn't make any sense. So therefore, even my storage place also need to be, the waste need to be segregated and stored in a segregated fashion itself. Then for me to do all these things, I need to have a capacity, I need to have a certain amount of people who are trained in these aspects. Now, how do I go about it? I need to have regular training and awarenesses that needs to be conducted of the personnel, all the personnel that are included. It doesn't mean I'll train only the people who are handling waste and I will not train the others. No, I need to have training from top administrators to the lowermost cadre of this. So I need to plan my training and awareness also. How many trainings? Are the trainings going to be different for different set of people? Am I going to use any technology here? How will I know whether these people have learnt or not? All, and what should be my syllabus? What am I going to teach them? All these things would come under capacity building, training, and monitoring of these things. So now,
Man, sorry to disturb you.
yes, sir, please go
Your
ahead.
slides are not moving.
The slides are not moving.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, sir. I thought and it is moving on my thing here. Okay, where did it stop? How do I? Should I
Now it
stop
is.
share?
Now it has moved to waste audit. Now it is there.
Okay, so it means the full screen is not coming. All right, sir.
Yeah, no,
So the
okay.
waste dot, is it visible now?
Yeah,
Is it
okay.
moving?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Right. Thank you so much for telling me, sir. So now the waste audit usually, if it is, can be done both internally where there is a management committee that looks at it, and I'm just scrolling down, sir, because I have already discussed these things. I will not be going on to. So we stopped here at capacity building and training and monitoring, and we need to monitor about what sort of training. I mean, whether the training was effective or not. So you can do a pre and post test, and then again conduct another post test suddenly to ask them whether they have learned it or not. And one more method of understanding whether they have learned and they are implementing or not is to monitor the waste management system. That gives us a very good idea whether they have, looking at whether they have learned and they are implementing it or not. You also look at their knowledge, you also look at their practice of waste management systems there. Now, whenever there is a system, there are, so one more thing what we need to understand whenever we are planning here is we need to assign responsibilities. Many a times we all think that everybody can understand and everybody can do the same way as the person is thinking. No, we need to delineate specific responsibilities to different sort of people. If there is a person who's handling waste, we need to delineate his responsibility. His responsibility is to collect the waste from a point X to go to point Y and deposit it in point Y. While taking, he needs to be fully clothed or have the PPE. He needs to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things before he takes the waste from that particular place. That could be an job. Clear delineation of any job responsibility will always help in getting the job done quickly or efficiently. Now, I don't know how many of you have had this experience, but many a times, whenever we have gone for assessing certain waste management system in the hospitals, we always used to find a mismatch between the liner and the bin. The bin would be of yellow color, but the liner would be either red or some other color, whichever is being bought. Or they would find the liner, but the dustbin would be of a different color. The reason they say was there is inadequate supply, or there was no money which is there, which was allocated for this, hence the changes has not been done. So therefore, unless I allocate sufficient human and financial resources, probably my waste management system may not be in adequate. Many a time we don't waste management has always been the lowest priority in a hospital. In a hospital, the first priority is generally given to the patient, the doctor, the nurses, so that the ailment with which they come for is being addressed too. The amount of waste that is generated in the process of treating and diagnosing a patient will not be of much priority to them. The reason is all this time we were thinking it is waste, and but then there are chances that that waste can also spread the infection. So therefore, adequate attention to be given to that all. How do I give adequate attention? First, I also need to know how much, where, how to go about it. For that, I need human and financial resources. Now, there is one more thing when it comes to waste management. It is just not segregating, collecting, transporting, and giving it to a common treatment facility. I also need to look at how am I going to minimize the waste that is generated. How can I do it? I can only do it if I am influencing the purchasing policies and the stock management practices. That means first in, first out. In some places, they look at it, right? In the sense, I need to avoid wastage of materials there, and I also need to look at adequate. If there is something which cannot be used, is also a waste. So therefore, I need to manage my stocks. I also need to look at purchasing policy so that I don't overstock, nor do I fall short of it. So both these things are also important when it comes to waste management. And I need to plan for segregation of waste at the point of generation. The most important part here is the monitoring of the system. If there is no monitoring of the waste management system which you have set up, there are many chances that people will not follow. Our tendencies are like this. I don't know how many will agree with me. We will follow traffic rules if the policeman is there at the intersection. Where if the policeman is seeing us, whether we are wearing the helmet or not, whether the seat belt is there or not, whether we are stopping at the red light or not. If these things are not there, if nobody is seeing, I don't need to follow the rules. If that kind of a tendencies are there, then it is difficult. We always need to have somebody monitoring. We always need to have somebody looking over us, that whether we are doing it or not. So monitoring plays a very, very important role here. So these are the categories who are involved for us. Now, in the Healthcare Waste Management Committee, I think these are the committees, the participants of the committees who are there. I'll just skip this slide. What does this committee do is it ensures that the waste management is the quality of the waste management is good, and they formulate policies, they lay down the duties, and they also look at monitoring and training also. So these are the things which they are responsible. Now, what is it that need to be monitored? Even when you look at the waste management, setting it up, we need to look at what is the categories of waste, financial aspects of it, and injury reporting, regulatory mechanisms, and training awarenesses. These are the things that needs to be monitored by the waste management. Now, okay. So after doing the monitoring, if you find out there are certain new things that needs to be involved, then I need to look at a health draft of the healthcare waste management plan. What are the things that needs to be going there is what is the new practices that are adopted. For example, when the new rules of 2016 came in, did anybody do extra training in your hospitals when the new BMW rules of 2016 came in? And how did you go about it? There were there were some changes that happened. Can anybody elaborate it? What were the plans? What were the steps that were taken in the respective hospitals? The new practices that were involved is all the healthcare. There were certain pre-treatment practices that needed to be set up in the hospital, like say the the uh, the blood bags had to be pre-treated. The waste from the laboratories need to be pre-treated. These were certain things which needed to be planned, and all of them needed to be chlorine free liners. So how did you go about planning and adapting these new changes that was introduced in the rules of 2016? Are you there? Are you listening, or are you?
Yeah, ma'am, we are
Yes, ma'am.
there, but we're not
Yes,
aware of
how did you go about doing this? It was new for you, right? Newly done. How exactly you went about bringing in changes in your respective hospitals?
Ma'am, through training,
Through training. Okay. Is training enough?
training and monitoring, ma'am.
Monitoring is enough. Training? No, but by training, what did you come to know? By training, you will only come to know what are the new things that needs to be implemented, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Then after that, what did you do? You just kept quiet.
Uh,
Okay, for pre-treatment, what was the plan that was adapted for you in the hospital?
Ma'am, autoclaving
Autoclaving.
method.
Did you have a waste autoclave, an autoclave exclusively for waste?
Yes, ma'am. Now we have.
Now you
Previously,
have.
we.
You
Yes,
did
ma'am.
not have. So how did you get that?
मैम हमने मैनेजमेंट में बात किया, फिर एक रूम बनवाया ऑटोक्लेव के लिए, फिर उसमें
हाँ
ऑटोक्लेव
हाँ
मशीन लगवाई और
ओके और उसके बाद you had to train people to tell
यस
them
मैम,
what sort of waste needs to go into that autoclave and how to put it in the autoclave, and also to
यस
check what should be the pressure and temperature, and also to check whether it has been autoclaved effectively or not by using certain indicators.
यस मैम,
Am I right? How
जी
long
मैम.
did this take? Training would have taken a few 1 or 2 days.
मैम एवरी 15 days बिकॉज हर
Okay,
15
every
days.
15 days you trained people. But after
यस मैम,
that, for you to realize that you needed a waste autoclave, you needed another set of people trained in using the autoclave. You also
यस मैम,
needed a mechanism where all the waste that needs to be pre-treated to be collected and brought to that place where autoclave can be done,
यस मैम.
right? How did you plan for this? It did take some time, and I'm sure for any new thing to apply, it will take some amount of training and certain set of people to be there to implement. So unless you have designated, you need to describe how we are going to look at it, what is the new technology that is used, and how do I minimize the plan waste that is generated, how do I train, document it, and then see whether what sort of changes can be done. Now, initially, whenever the segregation is introduced in any of the hospitals, people will be enthusiastic to segregate every bit of waste that is generated and then create n number of segregation bins and other things. As time goes by, they realize that they don't need to segregate it in so many things. For example, I'll give you an example of household waste. There are only two categories as sorted: wet waste and dry waste. But if you look at dry waste, there are papers, there are plastics, there could be glass, there could be some other things which are also generated in the household. There will be a combination of things where it is wet, as well as there is some plastic that is generated, all the package material. For example, you take your milk packet that you get daily in the morning. If the milk goes bad in the packet, what do? The packet is made of plastic. What is inside is milk, which can be degenerated, which is again liquidified. So how do I manage these things? So these are some of the things which we need to understand and plan appropriately whenever something new is there. So I need to review each time. Whenever there is a review mechanism that is there, we come up with new, or you come up with efficient systems of management. Another thing, when it comes to sharps, many of them used hub cutters and needle cutters for managing sharp. I won't say it is a bad practice, but many a times there are injuries that have happened whenever they have used these hub cutters, because when they cut, there are chances that there could be a blood splash that happens there. And this, we have seen it many a times. And there are one more thing, that what I have noticed is when adequate human resources are not allocated to it, and there is another attitude problem, because some people think it is not my job of removing the waste. The segregation simply gets piled up and it is not done at all. And in some places, injections are given by somebody, but the needles from the syringes are not basically removed because there is no assigned person for it. There will be the class 4 employee which will come little later on and remove all the, by using a needle cutter or a hub cutter, by using it. So these are some of the things which you need to really keep in mind. Now, for us to develop, we need to first have what is happening right now and what are the challenges in practicing it. Now, what challenges can be in terms of waste minimization, segregation, handling, collection, transportation, storage, record keeping, or occupational safety of the healthcare personnel that are there. Now, these are the ground level ones. What are the things that we have identified? Among this, as a hospital, you can prioritize which one you would give the most importance and which is important to you, because there are certain things which you, based on its the, what you call, the urgency with which it needs to be met, or its capacity to cause harm, we prioritize certain things. So based on the challenges can be in any of these places, so I need to prioritize what I'm going to tackle first, and then go about doing it. So this is the challenges in practicing. There are challenges in procuring the equipment. Sometimes you may not have the adequate equipment to procure things. There could, many a times we have always seen that there are challenges in getting the liners, chlorine free liners, so which was not there earlier, so now we are having it. Then you prioritize the issues, establish protocols and procedures. Whenever we are establishing protocols and procedures, we always need to get the people who are implementing it into confidence. um, I don't know how many of you agree. Many of our national health programs, or health programs, they may or they may not involve the end stakeholders. Earlier we used to plan like that, but now there has been a change in those kind of planning. Suppose I do not involve the nurse or the head nurse who is handling the training of waste management. Suppose I don't involve the doctors who are generating the waste for planning. Then probably I will not achieve my objective of having the best waste management practices. So I need to look at the stakeholder also. It doesn't mean that only the people in the hospital are involved. How about people when it is transported? transported. One such example where we had issues with the new rules of 2016 before the amendment was usage of these cardboard boxes for transporting glass. The rule said use cardboard boxes, but then what were the logistics in using, I mean, what were the problems in using that was it would get soggy. If there is broken glass, it would come out and it could injure the person who is transporting it. Three, the common treatment facility person had a problem because the cardboard boxes were space occupying lesions. Earlier it were just a it was a plastic bag where he could just place it in a bin and take it. So these are some of the logistics. Now that the amendment has come, there are different. So these are certain things which we need to uh, unless we implement it, probably we may not know. If we did not know this because maybe the end or the stakeholder was not involved, or even if they were involved, the changes could not be made. Now the changes are made, and the amendment was brought in. So similarly, if you do not make those changes within your hospitals and do not involve the stakeholders, these kind of logistic things can be missed. Now you always need for us inputs. If any rules that are come out, they put for um, public comments. That's where they ask for inputs. So it is important that you give inputs whenever asked for, even when there is a rules also. Now, what are the resources that are needed for transition? Just as I said, I gave you an example of the autoclave. We needed a waste autoclave. It was made mandatory. It could be any other method, but most of us, or it could be even getting the chemical disinfectant agents. Now, here identify the champions. In this, there are people who have already been implementing it, and therefore they need to be identified, and then they need to be promoted. So, in your plan, you need to look at why you are doing it, the present scenario, what would be your organization structure, who will be the one responsible, or how is it connected to the other committees, the roles and responsibilities have to be. How can I go about doing this? Has anybody heard about Gantt chart? There are tools for planning also. Has anybody heard about a Gantt chart? Have you used it
No, ma'am.
anytime? You have not used it? Okay. It is nothing but a simple, very simple graph where on y axis you are basically delineating all the activities that is necessary for you to do it. Right. One example, suppose I want to establish a segregation procedure for one OPD. Okay, this is my objective. How much time I'm giving myself to do it? I want to achieve this in a period of 1 month. Let me take OBG OPD, obstetrics and gynecology OPD. There, I want segregation practices to be established within 1 month. It's a new one where I have established. I have got people there who are trained. So, what are all the activities that I need to achieve this objective? Can somebody delineate? I need to train people.
I need to make the SOP, need to go step by step that what
Yeah.
all I need. I need
Yes.
to plan out that how many and at what level people need to get involved. I
Yes.
need to see that uh, how I need to procure the machinery or the
Yes.
things
Good.
I need for that and
Huh.
where to procure the things, how
Okay.
the
Where should I
tender should
keep
go about.
these? Where should I
Yes.
keep the segregation? These
Yes.
bins.
For how long I can keep it and how
Uh,
soon the other
how soon it
person
should
will
be
be able
lifted
to.
from there?
Yes.
Yes. So very good.
And how to
So
maintain the logbook of the thing.
logbook of it. Who will document it? So what will I
Yes.
do? I'll put all the activities on the Y. That means I'll say resources, I'll say training, I'll say documentation, placement, review. Okay. Now what I'll do, how much time I will take to do each of the activities is what is plotted on a chart there. On the y-axis, I can say 1 month is my time. So from if I started at 0, in how many days will my standard operating procedures be ready? In how many days will I be able to get my bins and liners? In how many days my training of the family, the personnel will be ready? So when I'm plotting this on a on the x-axis, the y-axis has the activities and the x-axis has the timeline. Now I'll take it in days because I'm looking at only 1 month. But if you take around 6 months, how many months for each of these things? When I plot this, I get an idea. That means at the end of fifth day, my training is over. At the end of 15 days, I have the material, I have the trained people, I have my SOPs ready. Next, what I do is I need to implement it, I need to get somebody to monitor it. Now, did you get an idea what a Gantt chart is all about? So
Right, ma'am.
that will help in maintaining our timelines. Now, one more thing, what most of us is here is whenever we are on the implementation side, we generally may not look at the expenditures and costs that are involved in doing this. There is material cost, there is human cost to it. So I also need to track. If you're introducing any new thing there, you can say earlier I spent around 10 rupees to do the same thing. Now I am able to do it in a very short cost, or maybe I'll be able to do it in 5 rupees. But my principal will be little more. That means I have to invest around 100 or 200 rupees or 500 rupees in buying some material there. But when if I do it for the rest of the period, the amount that I'll be spending is less. So I also need to look at how much of expenditure I am doing on this and what are the costs. Is there a way that I can reduce it? But however, whatever we do, we need to keep one thing in mind, that whether I am in line with the rules or not. Whatever I am doing, is it compliance with the rules or not? That is the most important thing. Then another most important thing that we find here is this. You know, these are something which can be done by a single person, like say Gantt chart or tracking of expenditure and cost. The most problem or the most important thing here would be team building, sensitivity training, conflict resolution, leadership modeling, mentoring, and facilitation. If somebody says, please do this, the next question the other person will ask, why should I do it? I don't need to do it. Who are you to tell me? I don't work under you. So, when you look at waste management, the most problematic thing would be the human resources for them to comply and do what is necessary. So, I need to have mechanisms where I build a team, in the sense, I need to have mechanisms where all of them in this team would be working towards efficient waste management systems. What sort of communications are going between them? If there is a conflict, how do I resolve it so that people are not hurt and at the same time the work goes on? Right? This managing people, I feel, is the most important thing that needs to be done. Now, after doing all these things, I need to evaluate the system and review and come back again in terms of wherever the lacunae is there, start planning again to how you will address that particular lacunae. Right? So this is evaluation of the system. When you are looking at evaluation, you have predetermined this. That means to degree of what success you are going to look at. So your measurement of accepted criteria and interpretation of the relationship against them. So you are assessing, progressing the reporting the progress, and also assessing what is that. So evaluation is basically to safeguard the interest of recipients of hospital care, administration, and professional authorities to ensure that hospitals deliver safe and efficient medical services, to identify any shortcomings and provide sound appraisal system. Right now, what to evaluate? Even in waste management system, you need to evaluate the physical facilities, the processes, the actual plan, the outcome, and the impact for the community. All right, all these things are necessary even when in evaluation of a waste management system. So what are the stages? Setting out questions, sources of information, where will you get the sources, obtaining the information and assessing the information. How do I obtain and who will conduct? There are some external agencies who will conduct, but internally, if you want, even the waste management committee and the infection control committee can also evaluate the system and again come back and plan again, give inputs of the evaluation. All right. Thank you for a very patient hearing. Is there anything that I can clarify?
Ma'am, as you were saying that the training has to be done time and again for the student, for
Yes.
the employees. So who need to train them? Who should be the person training them? And like you said that everyone says, who are you to teach me?
So,
So
ma'am, that
should
was
there
one of,
be designated person from the government or from your own institute who should be training them?
ma'am, you can do it for, I'm talking in terms of your own institute. Within your institute, if you have your roles and responsibilities that are delineated, you can designate person X or person Y would be conducting the training to how many sessions, how many people, that can be your plan of action that can be done. It is not necessary that it's always the government should come and train. No, you can have it within your institution itself.
Yeah, I feel so. I just want to supplement you, ma'am.
Sir, please, sir, go ahead.
Generally, the healthcare facilities will have the hospital based management committees.
Ah,
This committee can take care of giving the training. Other
sir,
thing is, every
usually it
hospital
is.
will have a nodal officer
Ah,
for biomedical waste management. That nodal officer can give the training for all the hospital staff. It is
usually
the
it is.
management to decide to whom they can train the hospital healthcare staff. That management can be decided. But every healthcare the festive worker has to be trained on biomedical waste management aspects at the time of induction and on at least once in a year.
Sir, ma'am, I think sir has answered your question. Usually there will be a nodal person and the healthcare waste management committee. Sometimes these committees are different in big hospitals. Sometimes the committee can be merged and one committee can be working for both infection control and hospital waste management committee. Waste management committee. Now you can ask me if it is a small, mm, what do you call, primary health center. Even in a primary health center, you can designate one of the person to look at these waste management practices. It is not necessary that since it is small, I don't need to practice, I don't need to do it. That kind of attitude is not necessary. You can have one nodal person who's designated who looks into these waste management practices. Yes, sir. Can I call it? I would like to end if there are no questions, and I think Dr. Chandrababu is waiting to take his session.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much,
sir.
Dr. Suman, ma'am. Am I
Thank you, sir.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's a really, very good presentation. So with this presentation, our students get benefited. So thanks for your time. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I
Thank you,
will
ma'am.
leave out of this meeting, sir.
Okay, okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So now we welcome to Dr. Chandrababu, sir. Sir is very much, I think they are from since 3 o'clock. So I really thankful to you, sir, from today's session. So students, now our next expert is Dr. Chandrababu. So he is going to teach you disposal of BMW. So sir is very expert in this field and he is a very good academician. So on behalf of IGNO, on behalf of RC Bhubaneswar, so I welcome you, sir, for today's class. So I hand over the session to you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Let me share my presentation first. I'm not actually. I'm trying to upload. It is. I'm not getting option of uploading. Give me a minute. I'm trying to share my presentation, please.
No issue, sir.
Yeah. Can you see my presentation, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Is it visible, please? Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I have gone through the complete topics which have been assigned to the various experts for presenting before the all the students those who have enrolled for the IGNO course. Most of the topics have been covered by today, and I just want to recollect before I go for what are the various technologies for yeah, you just come here, not share. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Now, is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
See, before going for the my topic on burn and non-burn technologies, I just want to recollect what you have read about biomedical waste management rules 2016 and its amendment. The biomedical waste rules specifies, of course, these rules are applicable to all the generators, healthcare facilities, and comm facility operators, those who are directly or indirectly generating biomedical waste. And this biomedical waste has been categorized into 4 categories, that is yellow, red, white, and blue category. And there is rules emphasizes segregation of biomedical waste as source, and all the segregated waste has to be stored only at the designated locations. Once the waste is stored in the bags, that should not be the segregated at all further. There no necessity to chanting of this the stored waste in the bags. Ensure treatment of disposal of waste such as human, anorganic waste, soil waste, and microbiology waste. These waste should not be stored not more than 48 hours. That means human anorganic waste, the animal anorganic waste, soil waste, and microbiology waste. These waste cannot be stored more than 48 hours because these wastes are highly infectious in nature that may cause spread of disease. Therefore, these 4 categories of waste has to be disposed of within 48 hours. And these rules permits treatment and disposal of waste through a common facility which are located within 75 kilometers. And the waste like laboratory, microbiology waste, blood samples, and blood bags should be treated at source as per guidelines of WHO. The efficacy should be log 4 for disinfection and log 6 for sterilization. Is anybody can say what is the difference between disinfection and sterilization, please? Anybody can say?
So in sterilizations, we kill the spores, but in disinfections, we cannot kill the spores.
Yeah.
Sterilization
So
is a
chances of spores may be there in case of chemical disinfection,
Yes,
whereas
sir.
sterilization, the spores may not be there. Therefore, that is the difference. Therefore, I hope so. In the last class, I told you what is log 4 and log 6. Therefore, which is more effective, log 6 or log 4?
Log 6
Sterilization.
is more effective.
Log
Log
6.
6 is more effective than the log 4. Therefore, disinfection is not effective than that of the sterilization. And of course, the rules also says every worker has to be immunized, every healthcare worker has to be trained at the time of induction, and also at least once in a year. Of course, you people have raised one of the questions in the last section. And suggested technologies are, as per rules, is incineration, plasma pyrolysis, autoclave, hydroclave, dry heat sterilization, microwave, shredding, combination of sterilization, shredding, chemical disinfection, encapsulation, sanitary landfill, or disposal by deep burial. These are the technologies suggested for treatment and disposal of biomedical waste. Of course, treated plastics can be used for the purpose of energy recovery or recovery of diesel or fuel oil or for road making. If any other technologies other than listed under the rules, if you want to adopt that technologies, then the proposal should be submitted to the government, central government. In turn, the central government will come out with the standards for that new technology, and they will notify it under the EP rules. Then only that technology can be used by any healthcare facility or comm facility operator. If the technology is not specified in the rules and no standards have been prescribed by the government of India, then such technologies cannot be used by any healthcare facility or comm facility operator. Of course, every healthcare facility operator has to submit the annual returns by 31st of July every year. Otherwise, of course, 30th of June every year, and state political boards and PCCs in the states or UTs have to submit this information, compiled information to CPCB by 31st of every year. Of course, the standards have been prescribed by the rules that I will let you know in my
Sir,
actual.
slide is not moving, sir.
Yeah. Can you hear me, please?
Yeah, voice is clear, but slide is not moving.
Slides are moving?
No, sir.
No, sir, slides are not moving.
Can you see the slide, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yellow color waste.
Yeah, yellow. Therefore, I told you the biomedical waste is having 4 types of waste generally, which comprises of yellow, red, white, and blue color waste. And yellow color waste will have all these components, like which includes human analytical waste, human tissues, organs, fetus below the viability period, animal analytical waste, soil waste, expired medicines, chemical solid waste, and all these waste will fall under the category of yellow category waste. Generally, this yellow category of waste has to be treated by incineration or by plasma pyrolysis also. Other technologies cannot be used at all. Can you see next slide, please?
Yes, sir. Cytotoxic.
Yeah. This is the one more yellow category of waste. All the cytotoxic drugs have to be disposed of have to be segregated at source in a yellow color bag only. This waste will go for further treatment by incineration or by plasma pyrolysis. This is the red color category of waste. These are all the plastics. Generally, it will contain plastics, infected plastics, which may be of the syringes, everything. All that plastics, everything will go under the red category of waste. Of course, what I'm saying is waste generated from disposable items such as tubings, bottles, intravenous tubes, threads, catheters, urine bags, syringes, everything without needle, syringes without needle. All these sort of waste will, vacuum cleaners, all this sort of waste will go into the red bag. This red bag, before you dispose off into the yellow color bag, it is always suggested these items has to be mutilated or you have to cut into pieces, then you have to put it into the yellow color bag so that you can avoid reuse of this infected waste. Therefore, it is a must for every healthcare worker to dispose of these segregated waste, especially the plastics, which has to be cut into pieces, then you have to dispose into red color bag. All this waste will go for further treatment using the autoclaving, microwave, or hydroclave, or chemical disinfection also. That is, of course, that is the wet process and other process. 3 techniques, whatever I told, autoclave, microwave, or hydroclave, they come under the wet process also. And these waste has to be treated, can be treated at the standard temperature and pressures. And treated waste generally can be sold for the purpose of recycling. Can be sold after treatment, after ensuring the waste is treated effectively. That recyclable plastics can be disposed of through plastic waste recycler or can be used for the purpose of the waste energy or energy recovery and also for road making. And other category of waste, I told you, the third category, white color waste, generally the sharp waste. This sharp waste has to be disposed of only through the translucent, the tamper-proof, leak-proof, and puncture-proof container only. That the container should be the translucent. That means which you should be able to see what is there inside. Therefore, these shops has to be disposed of or segregated only in white color waste, and this as such has to be disposed of through the confidential operator, or if you are having any on-site treatment facility like a dry heat sterilization or any other technology is there, that you can treat it and dispose it of. And fourth category of waste is the glassware and metallic body implants. All these broken metallic body implants, glassware items, broken items or unbroken items have to be disposed of in the blue color, the container. Earlier, madam was telling also, earlier they used to allow the cardboard boxes. Now they're not allowing. Only you have to use the container of blue in color, and this waste will go for further treatment using chemical disinfection or by autoclaving also, and this can be disposed of also for final disposal through any other the approved disposal options. Of course, laboratory waste, I told you, every bag has to be labeled properly with the biohazard symbol or cytotoxic symbol, depending on the type of waste. And the pre-treatment of biomedical has to be done, like the waste, like the laboratory waste, microbiology waste, blood samples, and blood bags. The 4 bags and the type of waste has to be pre-treated at the source itself, and then it has to be put in yellow color bag for further final disposal. Of course, I told you also all the the sharps or needles has to be cut into pieces before you dispose it off, so that there are no question of chances of recycling of that waste at all, infection waste. This is what in general how the waste has to be disposed of as per rules. The yellow color bag, the yellow color waste will go for can be disposed of either by captive treatment facility or through a common facility which is located 75 kilometers away from the healthcare facility. And this can be disposed of or treated and disposed of by using incineration or plasma pyrolysis or deburial or encapsulation in a healthcare facility, or can be used for the purpose of research recovery or energy recovery. And finally, ash, whatever is generated in the process of incineration or plasma pyrolysis, has to be disposed of through THDF or secure landfill facility only. Of course, the red color bag waste has to be treated using by autoclave or microwave or hydroclave, followed by the shredding and mutilation or combination. Of course, combination also you can use like autoclave and shredder. You can use it as a combination units, and you can go for treatment of such waste also. No approval is required. And the plastics, water treated plastic can be disposed of through a plastic waste recyclers approved under the rules, or you can dispose of through waste energy plant, or you can go for resource recovery, like you can recover the diesel or fuel oil from the treated plastic waste. Of course, third category of waste, white, I told you, it can be treated either by autoclaving or dry heat sterilization, followed by shedding is a must. Then that can be finally disposed of through deburial or by iron, that the steel waste can be disposed of through iron foundries, or can be disposed of through secure landfill facility, or it can be disposed of through concrete waste shop pit. Of course, fourth category I told you, all glassware and metallic body implants, broken or unbroken, that can be disinfected using a sodium hypochlorite solution, and finally can be disposed of through the recycling option, whatever is there. These are in general, just to recollect the rules is concerned, I have recollected. Of course, the final mode of disposal of waste, like where any facility is not available, no common facility is available, waste can be disposed of by deburial, following this the guidelines issued by CPCB or as prescribed under the rules. Of course, last time somebody was asking me, I think so, Kaur madam is there. Is Gagandeep Kaur madam is there? Dr. Gagandeep Kaur madam?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Last time you're asking me liquid chemical waste treatment. This first I'm just
Yes.
giving you. I cannot. This is not the complete option. Can I have a system like the chemical liquid waste collection provision, where
Right,
it can be
sir.
connected with neutralizing chemicals. If it is
Right,
acid,
sir.
it should be neutralized with alkali. If the chemical liquid waste is having the alkaline nature, then it has to be neutralized using the acid. Therefore, it is like some sort of a mixing unit here, depending upon the pH level. They assess what is, whether the liquid waste, chemical waste is having acidic nature or alkaline nature. Depending upon that, you have to add neutralizing agent. Once then it is a mixture will be there. Once it reaches to the adequate pH level as permitted in the rules, that liquid waste can be disposed of through into drain. The drain is connected to the STP. That water has to be treated and disposed of. This is what the provision can be think of by healthcare facility. Of course, coming back to my the topic given by the assigned by the IGNO. Of course, this is a very vast the topic, covering within 1 hour is very difficult for me also. I will try to explain as much as possible. Otherwise, you can ask me the subsequent to my lecture also. Of course, various technologies were there. For, as already given in the rules, I have already told you. But technology has to be chosen. What is available? What is the available? Or if the depending upon the funds available, everything one has to apply the updated or approved technology as approved under the rules only. You cannot adopt any technology as you wish. You cannot adopt any technology. Only the approved technology has to be used by the healthcare facility or confidential operator. Before coming up the rules, the waste used to be burned. What is the technology? Anybody can guess, please? Before the rules, there was a technology. Everybody used to adopt the technology. Anybody can guess, please?
Open burning, sir.
Open burning. Yeah. Any problem in adopting this technology? What will happen if you use the open burning technology?
Fumes and smells, and there are so many things. Incomplete burning hai.
Tell me what will happen if waste is burnt in open areas?
Chemically, fumes
Yeah.
that involved in the air pollution.
Air pollution. Then
And complete burning is not possible in open area.
Yeah,
That's
fantastic.
why
Complete burning is, yeah, guessed very properly. Complete burning is not incomplete burning. Any other things?
yeah.
Suppose some waste has been burnt in open area where there is a dry grass, everything is there. You have burnt it and adjacent to there is a forest. What will happen?
The forest.
Forest also will catch fire. That means open burning is, if you can say in a scientific way to understand, is it controlled burning or uncontrolled burning?
Uncontrolled.
Yeah. Therefore, this is the catch you have to keep in mind. Open burning is not a controlled burning. It is not a scientific way of burning. Therefore, the open burning is not at all suggested, and this method is obsolete. Of course, we have got the technologies like incineration, and of course, the plasma pyrolysis is a pyrolysis also there. Anybody can guess what is the difference between pyrolysis and incineration? Yeah, anybody can guess it, please. Yeah, you people are already told that suppose if you use open burning, uncontrolled burning, it is going to cause impact on the environment, which includes public health, air pollution, going to cause toxic, going to emit the toxic gases, which are going to be harmful for the public and also the animals or living beings on the earth, and is going to cause environmental damages. Therefore, open burning is not practiced at all, and now it is obsolete. And is also not uncontrolled. It is an uncontrolled burning. Whereas coming to incineration is nothing but oxidation of waste using some sort of complete in presence of excess air. In presence of excess air. Any for burning purpose, what is required for burning of any waste? What is required for us?
Oxygen.
Anybody can guess, please? Please, kindly react.
Oxygen.
Oxygen is required. Yes, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, guess very correctly. With oxygen, I can burn?
Only oxygen we cannot burn. It requires any other gases also.
Yeah. No, waste is also there. Okay. Waste also is there. Okay. Waste is there. And oxygen is there. Can I burn it? No.
Temperature.
Oxygen is there. And waste is there. Can you burn it? What is required for us? Some media between oxygen and waste. Fire, Fire is required, Therefore, to have fire, what should be the quality of the waste? Or you can tell me, simple way, we'll go in simple way. If waste is dry if dry waste is there and some waste is there, wet in waste is there, which can be burnt easily?
Dry waste.
Dry waste.
That means waste which is dry in the quality, that waste can be burnt easily without adding any fuel or any other media. Now, if wet waste is there, can you burn it? No. Therefore, waste, the biometric waste generated it may be a dry waste or it may be a wet waste. Therefore, you cannot burn this without having some sort of fuel. Therefore, generally for burning of waste, we require fuel, we also require oxygen, and waste quality should have adequate, the quality should be there without any excess moisture. That we call it as, we measure it in terms of calorific value. Therefore, any waste is having high calorific value, then that waste can be burnt easily. Any waste which is having low calorific value, that waste can't be burnt. That means low calorific value generally may not be having such the fire quality will not be there, therefore you cannot burn it. Whereas incineration can be said simply oxidation of complete waste into harmful, the harmless products in presence of excess air. Simple way to understand it. Of course, every matter waste will contains the composition of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Therefore, when you are using the carbon, hydrogen, it is the any waste will comprising of this matter only, elements only, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen only. Therefore, in presence of a fuel and all, if you burn it, that is called, in presence of excess air, it is called as incineration. Whereas some waste, there is what you can say. Let us say waste is there, and I want to burn through this waste through my equipment, wherein I am going to give supply waste and also feed my excess air. Apart from this, fuel I'm going to use it, some sort of fuel I'm going to use it. After burning, ash is generated, and in the process of burning, I also get some sort of toxic gases. What are they? Simple burning, if you see the equation of simple equation, carbon plus oxygen, in presence of oxygen, the carbon is converted into what? Converted into what?
Carbon dioxide gas.
CO2.
Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide. Therefore, then if CO2 levels are so high in the emitted gases through the incineration process, then we can say it is the combustion is very good or very poor. If all carbon in presence of excess air is converted into carbon dioxide, and that some heat is generated, then that process is complete. The combustion process is very good or very poor combustion is there.
I think it is very good, sir.
Very good. Yes. What is said is correct. If carbon in presence of excess air is burned using fuel, if it is converted into carbon dioxide and emits heat, then that combustion process is very good. If suppose if carbon dioxide in presence of oxygen, instead of CO2, if there is a CO, carbon monoxide, what is that one then? If combustion is proper or no proper?
Improper.
Improper. Therefore, remember this.
Improper, sir.
Combustion, in the combustion, complete combustion, the carbon in presence of excess air is going to be converted into carbon dioxide, which is the complete combustion. If carbon monoxide is formed in the process of combustion, that process is not complete incineration. It is improper burning. Therefore, for incineration process also we need excess air, and also we have to have adequate fuel, and also we have to maintain certain temperature, so the complete burning is happens, and all the carbon is going to convert into carbon dioxide. Therefore, no harmful effect are going to be caused. Of course, other problems will be there that will come across later on. Therefore, for incineration process, I have to have excess air, and waste should have adequate quality. Adequate quality means caloric value of waste should be there, and the moisture content should be as much as less. And if I have to use either fuel or CNG, whatever it may be, in the controlled combustion, the excess, the gases which I am going to generate are harmless, and that can be emitted to atmosphere. Whatever the waste that is generated from the combustion process is called as ash, which may contain some toxic constituents, and that for cleaning of all the flue gases, I am going to use water or other the chemicals, and that wastewater has to be collected and treated and disposed of. Now, anybody can guess me what type of suppose if combustion is proper, you all say that carbon is going to be converted into carbon dioxide, therefore combustion process is complete. Now, in the process of combustion or incineration, some type of waste is generated. It depends on some gases will be emitted, like CO2, then heat is also generated, and also some sort of the pollutants like particulate matter, means some small particulates will be emitted that may go as a part of the gaseous form, and that may go into the environment. And also apart from that, and people also say there may be mercury emissions, there may be dioxin furans emissions. Anybody can guess how mercury the gas are going to come? Suppose if waste is burned, the gases will have mercury content. Anybody can guess how mercury has come there? Anybody can guess, please? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Anybody can guess, please? Mercury waste, how? If you burn the waste, biological waste through incineration process, it is going to cause mercury emissions. How it is going to cause mercury emissions?
We can use a technology in gases outlet point where we can trace it. But exactly what process we are using, I don't know.
Can you guess what is the source of mercury in the waste?
If there is some heavy metals,
Heavy metals, okay. Another heavy metal? What type of heavy metal? Okay, mercury. Just to avoid my time, save my time, I can't question you like this also. The mercury, what is the source of mercury? Dental amalgam or mercury thermometers? BP operators, or these are the generally sources of mercury in the hospitals. Yeah, may I request kindly keep your microphone in off mode, please. Mercury is the dental the from thermometers, BP operators, dental amalgam, leftover residual dental amalgam. The mercury may be there. If this waste is mixed with the biomedical waste, when you go for incineration, then mercury emission will be there in the gaseous form, definitely. And can you please, somebody can guess what is these dioxins and furans? Anybody can guess, please? Every human tissue will have sodium chloride. Chlorine is there. Suppose when you burn any tissue, naturally the chlorine also will be there. It combines with hydrogen present in the excess air. Then hydrogen plus chlorine also forms HCl. That is, the hydrochloric acid will form. Apart from this, in the combustion process, at a certain temperature, if gases are not cooled rapidly, then in between the temperature 250 to 450 degrees centigrade, having gases at that particular temperature, then definitely the chlorine will be formed, and that will come out as a form of dioxin furans, which is highly carcinogenic in nature. Generally, after combustion process, the gases will have temperature around 1200 degrees centigrade. The 1200 degrees centigrade temperature has to be brought down to around 250 before it is emitted into the atmosphere. That means it is a very highly the combustion process to reduce the temperature of the gases. In the process of reduction of these temperatures lesser than 250, if you don't take proper measures, then dioxin furans will form definitely in the incineration process. That is going to be the toxic nature. Therefore, toxic gases will be generated in the incineration process. Now, other one is called, for incineration of any the incineration, we need excess air. Now, some process is there where the excess air may not be required as per the Tokyo requirement, but only the controlled air is supplied so that the combustion takes place and all the waste is converted to ashes. That is called as the pyrolysis. Means pyrolysis is nothing but the incineration. This is also called as a incineration process or thermal disintegration of the organic waste, but at controlled temperatures and controlled supply of air. Then this process is called as pyrolysis. Of course, pyrolysis and the incineration are one and the same. In the incineration process, we are going to use excess air, whereas in the case of plasma pyrolysis process, where we are giving the adequate air only, not the excess air, and the fuel. Then the waste is burnt and converted to ash, and ashes will not be having, the gases will not be having the toxic in such a way. That is the plasma pyrolysis. Of course, for the control of various pollutants, we have to go for dust control measures has to be taken, and the volatile heavy metals like mercury has to be controlled by using various adsorbents, and hydrochloric acid, that gases has to be neutralized using the adequate measures. Of course, NOx also has to be reduced because of all the air will have the nitrogen. When it is the participate in the combustion process, NOx is going to be converted when come and mix with oxygen. It is going to be converted into NOx. Therefore, NOx is also has to be controlled at the time of discharge of all the gases into the atmosphere. Now, coming to the burn technologies, what is what? Let us here see. I already told you that yellow color waste will go for incineration or plasma pyrolysis. All this waste will go for incineration or plasma pyrolysis. Definitely, you all know. Now, what type of incinerators are there? Suppose, depending upon the type or scale of operation of the incinerators or number of chambers used and condition of air supply and temperature maintained, there are various types of biomedical incinerators are there. And I already told the incineration is nothing but the incinerator technology is nothing but those in which waste are treated using the thermal treatment technologies, where in presence of excess air, it is called as incineration, and the thermal treatment of waste using the technologies where the excess air is not used or controlled oxygen is used, that process is called as pyrolysis. Now, depending upon the scale of operation of the incinerators and all, and we can they categorize the incinerators into different categories. One is small scale incinerator. Anybody can guess what is the small scale incinerator, please, by observing the picture here? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. This is a single chamber burning equipment.
Yeah. It is the country-made single
Yes.
chamber or double chamber incinerator. What is lacking here? Anybody can guess here. Suppose combustion is there. Combustion is there in this process. I'm talking about this only. He is having a single chamber only. He's having a small pipe, and he is opening the opening is there. He is putting a fire and putting all the waste and burning it. It is a single chamber incinerator only. But is it the allowed like this? The site of the incinerator can be called as incinerator? No. Of course, this is also a chamber, the chamber, single chamber only, but the stack is there. Gas are going to be emitted directly into the atmosphere. Is it having any control measures? There is a burner. This is called a burner is there. He has put two burners. It has got two chambers in a single unit. It has got two burners, two chambers, but no pollution control system. Directly, all the gas are going to be converted. Of course, waste is going to be burned within the closed chamber, but the ash is going to come generated. But gases, whatever is there, is going to be emitted into the atmosphere. Is it allowed like this? What will happen if gas are discharged directly into the atmosphere without any treatment? What is going to cause?
Air pollution is there.
Air pollution causes. Suppose any emission, any pollutants, if it is discharged into the atmosphere without taking any control measures, then it is not possible to control. I am telling you. It's not possible to completely clean entire air unless there is a rain. If there is rain, the rain is going to help us definitely to control the pollutants. Whereas if there is no rain, then it will be there in the atmosphere. It will be transported to one place to other. That is very, very difficult to control. Therefore, these pollutants may travel from one place to others depending upon the climatic conditions that is going to cause impact on the environment. Therefore, these type of incinerators are not allowed nowadays. It is not permitted and it is prohibited actually. And what you call this is single chamber incinerators. These two are single chamber. Is it allowed now? No, it is not allowed now. Of course, advantages are there, disadvantages are there. Fuel, it causes highly pollutions. Now, what is incineration? For proper incineration, I already told you have to have the air, excess air should be there, fuel should be there, waste should be there, and there should be proper turbulence within the combustion chamber so that all the gases which are there properly they mix along the fuel and the oxygen. Therefore, combustion takes place, and there should be the combustion process should have the residence time and combustion temperature should be there. Without this and without excess air, it is not going to cause any burning of waste. Is not going to be converted into harmless products. And also, every incinerator should have the double chamber, separate chamber should be there, and a controlled air should be there. Always minimum 100% excess air should be supplied so that combustion will take place, and adequate residence time should be there. At least 2 seconds time of residence time. Within 2 seconds, it is going to cause a burning. All the gases will be burned, of course, in the presence of excess air only. Of course, pyrolytic, the process I already told, and the temperature we will see all these things. Of course, this is also a double chamber incinerator, but it is not. Is it having any control measures? These also two chambers are there, but directly stack is attached. That means there are no any control measures, though this is a type of one incinerator, but it cannot be used as the incinerator because it is not having any control measures, air pollution control measures. Therefore, even this double chamber incinerator is not allowed without any APCD. If it is there, that cannot be allowed at all. Then, sir, what type of incinerator can be allowed as per the rules? Now, this is the incinerator where it contains two chambers, followed by these are the pollution control systems before the gas are going to be emitted through the stack. Therefore, the gas are going to be emitted through the stack, having at least 30 meters height should be there, and all the incinerators should have the chambers like primary chamber. This is called a primary chamber, where the temperature is maintained around 800 degrees centigrade, and there is the burner will be there, separately burner. The air also will be supplied, and the feeding mechanism is there. And the secondary chamber, where in the primary chamber, solid waste is going to be burned, and that is going to be converted into gaseous form. Maybe in the form of carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. And that the gases will be generated in the first primary chamber. That will come into the secondary chamber, where this carbon monoxide is going to be completely burned in presence of oxygen, and that after conversion of carbon monoxide into the carbon dioxide, that gases along with other gases like hydrochloric acid the pollutants will be there, particulates will be there. This is the emergency exit. Means in case of any emergency, if air pollution control systems are not working, only that time these gases will be permitted to discharge into the environment if there is a problem in the air pollution system. But all the gases have to be go through this the pollution control systems. Here venturi scrubber is there, followed by wet scrubbers, and finally it will go through this stack into the atmosphere, and all the gases will be emitted into the atmosphere at a height of 30 meters. Therefore, and generally the exit gas should have 250 degrees centigrade temperature will be there. Generally, at this temperature only that will be emitted, so that it will travel certain height, then it will be traveled depending upon the atmospheric conditions. This is this is also one of the type of the incinerator. It is called as rotary incinerator, rotary kiln, where here this is the primary chamber. This is the primary chamber that will be in rotating condition will be there. Here all the waste is going to be burned because there will be proper, it is in a rotating condition. Therefore, waste is going to be mixed properly in presence of fuel and the burners. All the waste is going to be converted into carbon monoxide. That will be treated in the secondary chamber. It is having the burner also, and the supply of air will be there. Here, the carbon monoxide is converted into carbon dioxide. Then thereafter, it follows all the pollution control systems, finally emitted through a stack height of 30 meters. Generally, rotary kiln is permitted where the incident capacity is more than 50 kg per hour. Generally, if the waste has to be treated more than 50 kg per hour, generally then rotary kiln is preferred, or you have to treat waste 24 hours. Then in such a case, generally the rotary is preferred where the waste has to be treated more than 250 kg per hour. 250 kg per hour waste has to be treated, then rotary kiln is generally preferred, and that rotary kiln is also one type of incinerator. Of course, what you all know, single chamber incinerators or double chamber incinerators without APCD cannot be allowed. That is going to cause harmful effects on the environment and as well the causes public health. And pyrolytic incinerators means the incinerators which are under excess, the combustion takes place where excess temperature and excess air will be there. In presence of excess air, the waste is going to be converted to ash and the gaseous form. Gases will not have the pollutants, and these pollutants will be further the controlled using APCD, and that is discharged. There is a rotary kiln is also one type of incinerators. Rotary kiln will have two chambers. Of course, first chamber will be called as rotary because it will be in rotating condition, and the second chamber will have that of the other pyrolytic incinerators where the carbon monoxide is going to be converted into carbon dioxide and gases will be emitted. Of course, the country made the incinerators are there like I shown you already, single chamber or drum type of things, which is not permitted as per the existing rules. Only double chamber incinerators are permitted. Only these are the standards for operation of incinerations. And the combustion efficiency should achieve 99%. And that's why if combustion is proper, the carbon dioxide is generated. If carbon dioxide is more, generally we can achieve combustion efficiency of 99% definitely. Therefore, carbon dioxide is examined in the emitted gases, and that is measured, and subsequently, and combustion efficiency is estimated based on the carbon monoxide and the carbon dioxide in the emitted gases, and combustion efficiency is estimated. If it 99%, then the combustion is proper and effective. Of course, primary chamber temperature should have at least 800 degrees centigrade, and secondary chamber should have 1050 plus or minus 50. Maybe 1000 to 1100 degrees centigrade should be the temperature, because the carbon monoxide is highly combustible, and in presence of fuel and the burner, generally this carbon monoxide is going to be burned at this temperature on its own. Therefore, temperature will shoot up definitely more than 1100 degrees centigrade. The secondary chamber residence time should be there at least 2 seconds. Therefore, these are the standards prescribed in the rules. Particle matter should be achieved 50 milligram per normal meter cube, and NOx 400. Hydrochloric acid should not be more than 50, and dioxin furangs cannot be more than 0.9 nanogram per toxic equivalent per normal meter cube, and HG, mercury and its compounds, cannot be more than 0.05 milligram per normal meter cube. Therefore, what I want to say is that the incinerators will have their every advantage is there, but as on date, the incinerators cannot be, single chamber incinerators are not allowed, only double chamber incinerators are allowed. Of course, time is there, very short of time. I will try to complete it very costly. Now, apart from the burning technologies, we can also go for non-burn technologies. There are mainly thermal processes are used, chemical processes are based on the thermal process, chemical process, irradiative process, and biological process. These last two the methods are not followed in the country because of no technology is approved, whereas the chemical process and thermal process are approved already under the rules. Only the technology can be used. What is this low heat processes? Thermal process, there are two types of categories. One is low heat thermal process and one is medium heat or the medium heat process, where this process can low heat thermal process can be further classified into wet process and dry process. Now, what is this wet heat process is nothing but the autoclave, microwave, or hydroclave. Autoclave is where you are using the autoclave generally. Am I audible to you, please?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Where do you use autoclave or microwave? Do you use autoclave, microwave for treatment of waste in hospitals?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Therefore,
In
what
the
is the difference between
hospital, we
autoclave and
use auto.
microwave? In autoclave, stay with the media for maintaining the desired temperature, whereas in microwave, the microwave energy, that is the media used for the purpose of maintaining the temperature. Hydroclave is nothing but autoclave. It is a improved version of autoclave only. Therefore, there is no much difference in autoclave and hydroclave, but only the penetration of heat will be more in case of hydroclave. Whereas in microwave technology, microwave energy use. Therefore, these are the low heat thermal treatment technologies. What do you mean by these are the temperature one can mention. Of course, the temperature of 121 degrees centigrade, and we have to maintain temperature using the steam. And the autoclave will have there are two types of autoclaves, gravity autoclave and there are two types of autoclave, vertical autoclave. And the generally autoclave, the waste is treated using temperature of 121 degrees centigrade at a pressure of 15 pounds per square inch. We call it as a psi, and residence time is not less than 60 minutes. Depending upon the temperature and pressure, the residence time also will increase or decrease. Therefore, minimum generally 121 degrees centigrade, 15 seconds, 15 psi pressure, and residence time of 60 seconds is 60 minutes is practice. And after once the cycle is over, the waste has to be, and along with the waste treatment, the waste also has to be the use some sort of test we have to conduct. What do you call? How do you estimate assess the efficacy of autoclave, please? Anybody can say?
Autoclave strip we can put on the.
Yeah, it is like a small tape. You have to put this tape along with the waste bag, which you are going to be intended for treatment through autoclave. Then the desired temperature and pressure and residence time has to be maintained. After, if you maintain desired temperature, then definitely at that temperature, if you maintain the desired temperature, pressure, and residence time, then only that strip is going to be converted into other color. If it is other as prescribed by the supplier, if that tape has converted into other color as prescribed by the supplier, then it can be called as your efficacy of autoclave is very good. If it is not achieved that specified color, then you are not achieved desired efficacy of the autoclave. Therefore, your treatment of the waste through autoclave is not proper. Other tests is there called as spore test. Generally, we use biological indicators. Geobacillus stereothermophilus spores are used, which may contain 1 into 10 power 6 spores will be there. If you maintain desired temperature, pressures, and desired residence time, do you find any strips, spores after treatment of waste through autoclave? Yeah, anybody can guess, please? Spores in the form of vials we keep along the waste, and the desired temperature, pressure, and residence time is maintained. Then that vial is taken out along with the which is there along the waste, then incubated at a desired temperature and desired time. If there is a change in the color of the vial, what do you say? Is it properly treated or not? If vial changes its colors after incubation, do you think is that autoclave is properly operated or not? Anybody can guess, please?
Not operated properly.
Not operated properly. If no change in the color, that indicates no spores are there. If there is a change in the color, that indicates spores are there. Therefore, if there is a change in the color is there in the vial, then that autoclave has not been operated properly. If no change in the color is there, then autoclave has been operated properly. That is the spore test that you have to conduct. This spore test has to be conducted at what frequency? At least once in every week. Whereas strip test has to be conducted for every batch. Autoclaving, for every batch you have to conduct routine test, whereas spore test has to be conducted at least once in a week. What is the other technology I told you? Other one is the microwave, where the microwave energy is used for treatment of biomedical waste. This is the type of equipment where the desired temperature and pressure the temperature is maintained in the microwave energy. And here the bacillus astrospores, the spores are used. And which one is more effective? Here, the spores used for the testing of efficacy of the microwave is 1 into 10 power spores, whereas in case of autoclave, the efficacy tested at what spores? 1 into 10 power 6. Which one is more effective than microwave? Which one is microwave or autoclave?
Microwave.
No, but spores, which you are saying, for assessment the efficacy is 1 in 10 power 4 spores, whereas here 1 into 10 power 6. Therefore, efficacy is for autoclave. And depending upon the test, we have to judge whether the technology adopted is wonderful or not. And other technologies are, I told you, the dry heat sterilization technology is there, wherein the temperature you have to maintain about 185 degrees centigrade for a duration of 150 minutes. And these are the equipment generally available for treatment of any waste using dry heat sterilization, where dry heat air is used as a media for maintaining the temperature, and duration is we have to maintain duration of the 150 minutes in each cycle, and sterilization period is for a period of 90 minutes. Of course, you can use the spores. Using spores, you can test whether the technology is adopted or the approved technology is having the desired efficacy or not. Using the spores attribute, of course, for every batch, for every once in 3 months, the test has to be biological test has to be conducted, and you have to maintain the records. Similarly, in case of course, when you are using the strip, that has to be kind of once in a week, and records has to be maintained. Of course, there are so many technologies like chemical process are there, wherein you can use sodium hypochlorite solution. What is the percentage of sodium hypochlorite solution we have to use for treatment of waste by chemical disinfection?
1%.
1 to 2%. You can use 1 to 2% of sodium hypochlorite solution. Of course, apart from sodium hypochlorite solution, you can go for ozone. Of course, these are all the new technologies, but they are costly in nature. Generally, they are not affordable in nature, therefore will not go for it. Of course, I already told irradiation-based technologies, biological treatment technologies are not practiced in this country. They are not being allowed as on date, but the one more technology is their mechanical processes, means combination of both autoclave or shredder. Autoclave and shredder will be there, that is permitted. And of course, autoclave and the mechanical process also, where it is autoclave and shredder is there. In such a case, temperature, the pressure, and duration has to be maintained. The efficacy of has to be tested, whatever it may be. And there are so many technologies, and as on date, you can use only the technologies which is permitted by the biomedical waste rules, like incineration, plasma pyrolysis, autoclave, hydroclave, dry heat sterilization, microwave, and the other things. Only these technologies are permitted. Of course, when no technologies are there, no treatment facilities available, then healthcare facility can use disposal of these biomedical waste by deburial. Deburial, already shown you the figure. Deburial can be used if no technology is available or any treatment facility is not available within a distance of scientific, then you have to go for your own treatment, and after initiating treatment, that waste has to be disposed of by deburial only. Of course, any technology requires approval from the government. Without approval of any technology, we cannot use any other technology as stated here. These are the approved technologies for disposal of biomedical waste, treatment and disposal of biomedical waste. Any new technology, if you want to adopt as a healthcare facility, then you have to submit the proposal to the government of India. Then that technology will be assessed by CPCB. They will evaluate standards, operating standards, and emission standards that will be notified under the rules. Then only the technology can be called as approved technology. And that approved technology only can be used for the purpose of treatment of biomedical waste. Therefore, in order to evolve the standards and approve the operating temperatures and pressures, or the operating the standard protocols, then you have to submit the proposal. The proposal will be examined by CPCB. Then they will evolve the operating standards as well as the emission standards. Only that will be later on notified in the EP rules, then only the technology can be used for the purpose of the treatment of biometric waste. Of course, it is a vast knowledge is required. It is not so easy to explain everything through 1 hour class. This itself is the 10 hours class actually. And anything is there, any doubt is there, you can talk to me, and my mobile is available here and my emails are available. You can throw me some light so that I can clarify to you. Still, if you have any questions, you can raise your questions, please. Yeah, now forum is open for discussion, please. Any
Sir,
questions, please?
sir, nowadays we should use that needle destroyer or hop cutter.
See, I'm telling you, needle destroyer has to be you have to cut using the needle cutters, and that is allowed. You have to use it. You have to ensure that that needles has to be cut at the source of generation so that it is not going to be reused at all.
And sir, if that needle destroyer is used where
No,
the
no, no.
needle
We
is
not the
born,
needle destroyers. Generally, needle destroyers are not used. Needle cutters are available, and that is very
yes,
simple.
sir.
That instruments are available. That cutters has to be used and disposed of. But you are not supposed to use needle destroyers. That causes fumes. That is not. That is going to cause problem for the healthcare staff. Generally, it is not allowed and not encouraged, please.
Thank you, sir.
Most welcome, please. Yeah. Any other questions, please? Yeah, please, sir. Take over, sir. Please, sir. My lecture is over. I request you conclude the session, please. Yeah, RC Bhubaneswar, am I audible to you, please? RC Bhubaneswar, please take over, please. Any questions? No questions. Thank you all once again. Still, if you are having any questions, I have given you my mobile number as well as my email ID. You can pose your questions so that I can resolve your issues, please. Thank you all once again, please, for your kind
Thank you, sir.
my lecture, please. Thank you
Thank
all.
you, sir.
Sir, do you want to conclude? Okay, thank you all once again, please. Thank you. I'm also leaving. No.